Okay, who's that? That's Lucia. Lucia, you need to change your name on here because you come in with my login. So you can just update your name.
Okay, edit name. Yeah, I'll just put Lucia in there.
Stop being so confusing. We're already live. We've been live for 6 minutes. So I'll drop out and leave you to it, and then I'm sure Kimberly and Adele will join you shortly.
Yeah. Okay. Thank
you.
We're
live on YouTube.
That's great.
Say hello to YouTube.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, thank you, Jason. Yeah, so hello, everybody. How are we doing today? I'm so sorry I'm late. I just had a couple of technical issues with my Wi-Fi. My Wi-Fi doesn't like me when I'm going live. So, yeah, apologies for that. Kim will try and join us in a short while. She's had a couple of with her assignment. She's actually in massive panic mode, so she may join us in a short while. So yeah, hopefully we will see her in a bit. So hope everyone is well, and thank you to everybody who is joining us on Wake Up UK platform, and to everybody that is joining us on YouTube, on our YouTube channel. So I just, thanks for everyone as well that consistently watches our show on a Sunday. Really appreciate your support and the comments as well. So yeah, thank you for that. So today, everyone, I haven't really got much planned, to be honest, but if any of you do follow our group or our page, or in particular, if you follow Kimberly, you would have known that Kim had a book this week called it was Alfred Kinsey's book. Now, this book was actually, I'm not going to go into it too much because I'm going to actually play you the video, because she had a full-on rant about it. It was, do you know what? She was actually shaking on this video because if any of you don't know the history behind this and why Alfred Kinsey is someone that we're sort of like looking into, or we reference. The reason behind this is because, as you know, the RSE, Relationship and Sexuality Education, is bringing its way into Wales. It's in England and Scotland, and it's in Ireland as well. I don't know if it's called RSE there, but it's in 52 countries all throughout the world. It's called different in each country. Like sometimes it's called SRE, and sometimes it's called CSE, Comprehensive Sex Education. It's all the same thing. It all comes from the same documents. And the reason why we're so interested in, or we reference Alfred Kinsey, is because that is where it all comes from. So we are basically taking this education from the UNESCO. The UNESCO and the WHO work together. And then, of course, this all comes, well, the history of it all comes from Alfred Kinsey. So I've got Kim backstage, actually. I wasn't expecting her to be here. So I'm going to see if I can bring you on. Let me see. There she is. I think that's
that's me. You don't.
Oh, that's you. Okay. What have I got to do to bring Kim on?
Click on the little toggle thing at the top right-hand corner of her little video. Is there a little white dot?
Right. There we go. Yay!
Now, before we start this year, Kim, I sent you two links. Kim, I sent you two links. One was for you to use to log in here as admin, and the other one was for guests. But you've come in here.
Am I on?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes. Now, Kim, I sent you two links. Which one did you use to come in? The first one or the second one?
First one I seen.
I did.
That would be the last one you read in the
message.
One, Kim. You've come in as a guest. You're not in here as admin, which means that you can't see everything that me and Lucia can see. Are you okay to stay to the end, Lucia, to manage it all, or do you need to?
Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll go through that next time to save time.
Well, I wasn't going to come on, Jace, because I've just had an heart attack. I've just lost work on my dissertation, and this set didn't come up, which I couldn't undo. So I've still lost the work, but I managed to undo that setting. So obviously I'm not going to leave Lucia down. So I've...
So you had a bad day then?
No, but from the phone call with you to like 5 minutes before going live, I literally lost my soul.
Wow.
I just had to brush a bit of colour back into my face.
I'm trying not to laugh because you might attack me if I laugh.
Well, you look fab, Kim.
Yeah, no, I'm stressed. That 10 minutes just really did knock me for 6.
Well, I'm going to leave you two to it before you.
Okay, thank you, Jason, and thank you for your help there, because I wouldn't know what to have done.
Do you know how to use this now, Lou? Do you know how to operate before Jason goes?
Yeah, it's all good. I just didn't know how to put you on then because you came on as a guest, not an admin.
I'm your guest tonight. Sorry to disturb you. Love you. Carry on.
Yeah, no, that's cool. You are my guest, Kim. I think we got the screen okay. Can everybody see our screen now? Just two of us, because I think we have got it set up. Yeah, it is set up okay. This is the second time I've been on this operation because I was with Jason yesterday, but Jason kind of sorted everything for us last week, explained everything to me, so it's pretty straightforward and it's quite exciting. You can't see what I can see, Kim, but there's quite a few different things going on this on my screen, so you'll get to be honest.
I don't think my brain can take any complication today now. I think I've had my thing for the day today.
I'll be technical today then, Kim, yeah?
Yes. Gwen's on. Hiya, Gwen.
Hi, Gwen. How are you doing? Thank you for joining. I was just saying there's quite a few you girls who join us consistently every week, so we're really grateful for that. Really grateful for the support and just everything that Gwen, you're amazing. Everything that you do, you're fantastic, girl. Like she really does. She's a proper grafter, that one, isn't she?
I say what I say the other day. She's like the FBI, Gwen is. She's like a secret FBI.
Full of knowledge, and she knows if there's something going on. Gwen will know definitely.
And Leanne's on as well, one of our biggest supporters. Hi, Leanne.
Hi, Leanne. How you doing? Thank you for joining.
Sorry to disturb you, love. What was you saying? I'm sorry. I'm sorry for disturbing you.
You do not have to apologise at all. I was saying about the live that you did this week, with regards to opening that book from Alfred Kinsey's book and about his research. And I was just saying how you were actually visibly distraught reading that book and opening it and reading certain pages to it. Like you could actually see that you were, even though you know what has gone on, it was it's still shocking, isn't it? Every time.
No, it's quite right. Like I don't like to look at that table very often anyway online, and I think I'd only read it once, the report once in my life before this sex education. Once is enough, right? When you're seeing something online, but you're not actually having that in my hands, that I just can't explain it. I don't know. It made it real. Just no physically holding it. It made it real, and to me, reality was in my lap. I wasn't expecting to react like that either. I really wasn't. I obviously I wanted to stay calm, but how can anyone stay calm when you got something like that? I was sweating. I was absolutely sweating. Do you know what I mean? I was soaking with sweat. And this is how flustered I was, right? I know it's chapter 5. I know it's table 32 or 34. So I know it's chapter 5. That's the chapter on the kids. I couldn't even think what I was looking in that book. I didn't know where to begin. I didn't know. As soon as I actually had that book open, it was just insane. Do you want me to tell you where that book originally came from? It actually came from Newport Library.
Wow. Really?
Yeah, Newport Library.
This just goes to show, doesn't it, that
what you need to understand is this book revolutionized sex completely. Do you know what I mean? It changed the way everyone's outlook on sex. So back then, there's a book, there's Alfred Kinsey's biology, and it took somebody 25 years to write this. So it starts from the day he was born. So it doesn't just look at all the bad stuff, it looks at all his life. Do you know what I mean? So how he was able to get into this position then, he was a fantastic scientist. He was a fantastic scientist, do you know what I mean? He was a zoologist before this. He'd already built up his credentials, you know, and it's like, it takes back to the old World Health Organization sex education document. Then you look at that and you think, well, my first look at that, when I seen like masturbation from birth, I was like, but this is the World Health Organization. There must be a reason for it. So you want to look for the reason for it. But it was the other way with this stuff with Alfred Kinsey. Yes, he did have critics about this book, but also his name made you think, well, it's Kinsey, he must be right.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a bit of that, like, but his critics have never been given any kind of platform. And since that video, since I did that video, it really did take off, didn't it? The amount of people that's been banned because of it is incredible. One woman's had a 30-day ban. It seems that if you want to support that book, if you want to promote that book, you can. But if you want to criticize it, you can't.
It seems that way. And this is the problem that we've had, well, throughout history, really, isn't it? Where when people actually stand up and say, hang on, this is wrong. If it goes against their narrative, they're just going to shut them down. And, you know, we visibly have seen that in all different aspects as well. But certainly, and, you know, we know, as you said, the World Health Organization, my God, they're like, you know, up on a pedestal, aren't they? Like, who's going to argue with them?
Yeah.
Like,
but this is it. I wanted to look at where it actually came from. So you look at the back, you look at the references. Yeah. A lot of them wasn't English. A lot of it's referenced back to itself, you know. And I tell you what I found interesting as well about that actual book of Alfred Kinsey. Again, what I looked at, the referencing, innit? How he brought that work together. Whose work did he use to bring that together? So I wanted to look at previous, if he'd referenced himself at all. And he had referenced himself. He'd referenced himself 3 times. One reference was for hormones in the homosexual male. One reference was from his work with gall wasps. And one was about the animal human, you know. So how do those things come into it, you know? How did the gall wasps come into it? It's insane. It is insane, no?
It really is. And the weird thing is, as you said, just because he's got these massive credentials that he's like a, you know, really good scientist, it's almost like they can just get away with just doing whatever they please, no matter how insane it is, no matter how perverted it is. You know, it's Kinsey. He's, what was he, a zoologist, yeah?
Zoologist, yeah, turned sexologist.
And it's just been allowed to I can't believe we're here, Kim. I can't.
But the thing is, this is what gets me. So when Kinsey started on this whole sex fest, he employed somebody. If you look at the documentary, that man will tell you himself, the guy who he employed. So he employed someone to film 2,000 orgasms. They didn't get to film in 2,000 orgasms, but they filmed hundreds anyway. But the first thing Kinsey said to him was, he warned him that he would be desensitized to sex, that things wouldn't be turning him on. You know, eventually things wouldn't be turning him on. So, you know, we've got Ulrika Johnson now, front page of the Sun. You know, she's headlining the Sun, saying how we should be introducing porn to the kids. You know, when we've got Alfred Kinsey in his own words, who wrote this book telling us that it desensitizes you to sex.
Yeah. So what are they trying to do to our children by suggesting this type, pornography to children? Like, of course, that's going to desensitize them at a young age. Yeah.
These people are dangerous, right? They give airtime. They haven't got a clue what they're talking about.
No.
Even if they are coming from an innocent place, right? They haven't got a clue what they're talking about. Why the hell are they giving airtime?
Yeah. Why
celebrities giving airtime all over and over again? The one that really got me. This is off subject now. I stopped watching morning TV of this when Shamima Begum was going to come back to the UK, And do you know who they had on to discuss that? Danny Dyer. You know, when what does Danny Dyer know about that situation? What does Ulrika Johnson know about this situation? What does Peter Tatchell know about the situation?
They don't.
They know nothing. They know nothing. And they shouldn't be given the airtime over things like this. Celebrity status has gone a bit too far now. They're using it it's being used to manipulate the masses, and it needs to stop.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like, people shouldn't be giving advice or just like throwing out these stupid statements if they don't actually understand the severity of it. They don't know why, really, like, unless they're complicit to the whole movement.
But this is what I'm trying to, like, I'm working on something now, and this is what I'm trying to achieve here. Obviously, like, the teachers think that we are demons and the relationship isn't very good between us and things like that since this campaign. So what I'm trying to achieve in my work, trying to show people how it's impossible for you to be making these judgments on this issue because of the magnitude of it, the complexities of it. So, the complexity of criminology itself, the complexity then of child sex abuse, the difference in the broadness of the definition, how the definition changes with time. So we come from child prostitution to child sexual exploitation. I show the different models of offending, the theories of offending. And I build it up, show on every single paragraph what it entails, what it actually entails. And what I show is, right, there is only one, you can never stereotype, okay? But there is only one thing, that there's three things that these paragraphs have got in common. The perpetrators have got access, opportunity, and secrecy. And until we become a nation that recognize that as a toolkit, we're not going to get anywhere. So I'm trying to show how you're a teacher, you can't possibly know this stuff. I'm trying to apply the different layers and show how complicated it is, how broad the subject is, And I really do hope to achieve that, because people don't understand it, Lou. They really don't understand it. And this is why they're quick to accept things, and they're quick to accept, correct terminology safeguards. No, correct terminology desensitizes.
Yeah.
I was putting condoms on a cucumber when I was 15. Yes, you was. Then somebody else was putting a condom on a banana when they're 13. Now we've got 11-year-olds putting condoms on life-size dildos, when the life-size dildo would be enough to make a child shriek. Then if they were faced with an adult-sized penis, they would shriek, and that would be enough to protect themselves in a lot of cases. That is called victim resistance. So there's a lot of complications about this, and this is what I keep showing as well. So when I show a complication about one thing, I flip it over and I say, but somebody else says this about it. Do you know what I mean? So is it right? And I hope to get people thinking. That's what I hope to get people thinking. I'm hoping to get people thinking, do you know what I mean? Wow, this really is massive, So although I'm not attacking, I am attacking child sex abuse, of course. But what I'm trying to show is the complexities and the knowledge you need to understand it, problems of victims, the problems of reporting, why we can't take these statistics at face value, and I'm using proper academic sources to say, well, the ONS is telling you this, but the IICSA is telling us this, which is the complete opposite. So what's it to be? So I'm trying to show people that, and until people understand how complex this is, and the only thing paedophiles got in common is access, opportunity, and secrecy. Three things we cannot see. Yeah. Only then we can start working together. Well, until then, we're not going to get nowhere, because people think once you've been trained and you're told you're trained for something, you believe you are.
Yeah.
Right. So we can't diss these people for that. We can't diss these people for that. But I need to show how this is complex, how the different definitions, the reasons why people offend, people need to really see this. And although what I'm writing is academic, I will in time be layman's term in every single paragraph for people.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, you hit the nail on the head there, saying about the complexities of this. I know, we've heard a few times about them saying that they're going to be spending millions on training teachers in order to make sure that they can deliver the RSE properly. Well, they've already started introducing it. And we've got everyday teachers who have never, they don't even, like, obviously they know what sex is, of course they do, but they have got no experience, no education in teaching children about this at all. Like, even just about sex, let alone the safeguarding issue, because as you've said before, safeguarding and sex education are two separate issues and two separate, they're separate anyway. So why have we got just teachers who, you know, they got their PGCE, they got like a little bit of safeguarding in that, but the safeguarding, you know, we've done the courses ourselves on High Street, you know, the type of safeguarding that they would receive. We've actually, you know, looked at that, and, you know, you've already said that it's not really that adequate in terms of properly, you know, sort of safeguarding. So
this is it. It's very generalized. It is, you know, and it's very mainstream, mainstream and generalized. So what I mean by that is, so we're looking at main traits and perpetrators. So we're looking at familial abuse. So that's abuse at home, because the records are telling us that there's a lot of abuse at home, you know. But yeah, what I'm writing right now is really interesting, because we are told that schools safeguard, but the actual, the amount of disclosures that happen in school is like 7% out of all. Do you know what I mean? It's like, and some of those are to other pupils as well. But then when you look at the actual levels of abuse that goes on in school, peer on peer and adult on child, is, and even another thing, so it'll tell us, everything tells us that there's hardly any sex abuse in the family with the female. Well, that's completely untrue. The statistics always tell us as well that the women don't rape. That's because there's no such thing as a rape charge for women. But, you know, we've got a study then by Andrea Darling of Durham University that shows that offences on school, on educational grounds then, is over 80% perpetrated by females. So, you know, so we've got legislation that doesn't match. There's no legislation for a crime to fit any crime. So some crimes can continue without legislation in place, you know. We've got policies and built off mainstream statistics. So the reports of familial abuse at home. We're now building policies on the loss statistics in schools. We're being told that it's mostly male perpetrators against females, because that's what these statistics say. When you actually look into institutional abuse, so we're talking football teams, rugby, sports, schools, churches, things like that. When you look at institutional abuse, it's a vast majority of boys that are victims, and it's in the tens of thousands. The victim count is in the tens of thousands. Those statistics aren't reported. Those statistics aren't in the ONS. We are never going to build a policy from that. No, you know?
Like, it's like that thing, isn't it, that men and boys are they're less likely to come forward. I suppose, especially if it was a woman perpetrator. I'll just tell you actually a story of someone I know. Obviously, I'm not going to say that person's name, but as a teenager, when he lost his virginity, it was by a girl, maybe a year or two older. But he was absolutely wasted, and she practically carried him. You know, he was absolutely wasted. And do you know, the attitude was, if it had been, he sort of like says now, oh God, if it had been the other way around, I would have actually said I was raped. But he said I couldn't, because, you know, I'm a man and she's a woman. And it's just like, that's
but this is it, right? But so the answer to that is teaching them consent and negotiation.
Yeah.
You know, like, we need to make children aware of consequence.
Yeah.
You know, the consequence of consent, and, you know, because it does work both ways. It works for the male and the female. And like I said, a lot of males, they don't report it, you know, especially if it's by a female, because there's confusion there as well. Well, I can't say especially if it's a female, because that's wrong. Because they get, if they're abused by male as well, there's always confusion over their sexuality as well then, especially if there's biological reactions involved. So, you know, like the erection, ejaculation, anything like that, like our body reacts to touch, you know what I mean? Yeah. And like with a female as well, sometimes, like, what I say is, you need access and opportunity. Who's got the most access and who's got the most opportunity? And the brain just doesn't understand that a female can do that.
Yeah.
You know, I would go as far as saying, there are no studies out there to prove this, but I would go as far as saying if a study was carried out, I'd say that this can contribute to a lot of male suicide, to be honest with you.
Yeah. And there is a high level of male suicide because they don't, you know, it's still, even though, you know, there's all this sort of like, you know, exposure about men need to speak out more, you know, don't be, you know, like mental health of males. But I can still see that this a huge amount of males that would not even come forward and admit that that's happened to them. And as you said,
but it, male or female, you know, you're depressed, you're whatever, you pluck up the courage to go to the doctor to tell the doctor how you're feeling. The doctor just gives you pills.
yeah.
So there's no looking for causation, you know, and they just put in a plaster on it, but it's a great big dirty plaster. So it's causing the wound to rot further, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, exactly. And this is the thing, isn't it? When it's like a if you've got a headache and you take a paracetamol. Now, a paracetamol will get rid of your symptoms temporarily, but it's not actually, you know, like, are you dehydrated? Are you not eating properly? Have you had some fresh air? There's all these contributions that you've got to look at the cause of that headache rather than, sometimes you do take a paracetamol, you think, oh God, it's really do my head in. But the important thing is to look at why you're having that headache. You know, are you eating properly? Are you drinking enough water? And it's exactly the same with a depressive state. Yeah, you can pop some pills and feel, you know, relatively okay for that period but you're just masking the symptoms. You're not actually getting to the root of it. So,
well, you know, a lot of side effects as well from that, Lou, brings the symptoms on further. So, you know, it's hi Emma, Emma's on as well.
Hi Emma.
Leanne, yeah, and anyone showing porn to kids should be locked up. Leanne, is actually non-contact sex abuse. You know, it's a definition. It's non-contact sex abuse. It's a fact. So, you know, that is a criminal offence.
It is.
And that's not my definition. That's not my definition. I didn't write that definition. That is a definition of child sex abuse, non-contact. So non-contact is showing children images, showing them videos, engaging them in images, engaging them in videos, asking them to touch themselves, asking them to do something. That is all non-contact sex abuse. You're engaging that child in that activity. So this is what these people don't realise. They're being told that, yeah, we need to show them a little bit of porn to show them the dangers of porn. Actually, that is non-contact sex abuse. That's the definition of it. This is what drives me insane when I read all these documents and that, because when you understand things properly, you're like, what? How is this possible? We've spoken to police officers, Lou, and they've said, that's illegal. You know, and we're like, thank you. We've spoken to somebody from the sexual crimes team as well. And this is it. Showing porn to kids is non-contact sex abuse. That is a criminal offence, and I advise anyone out there that if there is anyone, a teacher, anyone from the health profession, anyone shows your child porn or encourages them to look at porn, then that is non-contact sex abuse, and you can report it to the police.
And it's not just...
But don't just report it to the police. You report it to the sexual crimes team.
Yeah.
Okay, you do not go away. You make sure it goes to the sexual crimes team, not just any officer. It needs to be the sexual crimes team, because they will understand straight away. Because what they'll do is they look at models of sex abuse, sex offending then, right? And they have a chart to look at things on. And it'll be on that chart.
Yeah.
It will be on that chart. So you go to the sexual crimes team, and that's the way we deal with this moving forward now.
And Kim, it's not just pornography, isn't it? It's like, you know, if they're showing like a primary school children naked depictions of adults. Now, why would any child need to see naked pictures of adults? That's just desensitizing them again. And, you know, you're showing children things they shouldn't be seeing. You know, these depictions that were in those All About Me schools, they were pixelated on the 6 o'clock news because it wasn't suitable for children, yet they were showing them to 6-year-olds. Like, it's barbaric. Like, I would flip my lid if that was my 6-year-old learning that stuff in school. I don't get angry often, but that would send me over the edge, because that is disgusting.
And this is it, right? So we've just got people that's go into these documents, and that is, you know, whatever's in that document they deliver in.
Yeah, well, they are.
And it's open to interpretation as well. It's open to interpretation as well. There's nobody there with these teachers saying, like, no, this is what this actually means. And this is what I understands. And if this goes on this way, this is what could actually happen. There's nobody there to guide these teachers.
So is that, in a way, they've just put those documents in place, and they just want to, you know, if something does go wrong, they'll just put the blame on the schools? Is that
more than likely, yes. More than likely, yes. But then we've got a problem with reporting incidents in school. Again, that takes you back to the whole thing. Do you know what I mean? Problems with reporting, the problems with reporting are massive. Yeah. Even just as an additional needs mother now, you know, I expect my son to have a big record of documentation like that. You can't find a piece of paper that exists. So, you know, and this is something like, you know, we've had phone calls off parents as well, where we've had interactions with teachers, and parents have come forward saying that their child was assaulted on school grounds, and they didn't know about it until a year later because it wasn't reported.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we've had,
you know, so we haven't even got adequate reporting procedures in place. If we report it in Wales, if we report it under the Social Care and Wellbeing Act, and I think in England it's the Social Care Act, something like that. Then it gets reported to social services, and then here in Wales we've just had a report written saying the social services don't know what to do with disclosure. They're not allowed to ask about disclosures. They're not even allowed to ask a child if they have been abused. There is a case, a parent and I'm dealing with, her child was abused. She disclosed this abuse, and they need to know if another child in the family was abused, but they're not allowed to ask. They're not allowed to ask that child if they were abused too.
This is the crazy thing about it. They've got all these services and, you know, all these things in place, but none of them seem to be, well, it's almost like it's just a box ticking exercise to say, yeah, that's okay, you can report to them, and yeah, you can report to them, and you can report to them. But what do they do? Like, are they actually...
Where does it go? What happens about it? You know, where does it all go? Like, what's happened in Wales since the Waterhouse report? Oh, we got a children's commissioner. What else have we got? Oh, we got a child advocacy service. Right. So anyone watching this now, go to anyone you know under the age of 18 and you ask them, what do you think about a child advocacy agency? They're not going to know what you're talking about.
No.
They're not going to know what you're talking about. They don't even know it exists.
No.
Then we got the children's commissioner who's been in her post since 2015. We did a survey, Lou. 1,040 people responded. 87 point something percent don't know who she is. Out of the 12 point something percent that do, most of them think it's Kirsty Williams because of us.
Yeah.
And it's not even Kirsty Williams, it's Sally Holland. So, you know, we know what has actually happened. Where do these kids know they can turn? Who have they got to turn to?
Yeah,
Where are these solutions? Where are these solutions? We've had these serious case reviews. We've had public inquiries. The public inquiries are just a whitewash. I know they take years and years and years. When it's Operation something and it's Operation something else, you know, it just goes through different hands. We never get anywhere with them. And this is it. We're never going to get anywhere. This is why we have to fight for this new training and these new policies, because we're not fighting to change anything here. We're not fighting to change the policies because they don't exist. You know, so we're not fighting to change anything. We just see a massive gap and we know what needs to be there. So it's not as if, you know, we're fighting for anything to change there. Obviously, we are challenged the Curriculum and Assessment Act, and that is something that we are fighting. But outside of that fight, you know, we are looking for the gaps in the market. We want to fill the gaps in the market. We just want to make it a better place. We want our teachers up to scratch. In actual fact, we don't want our teachers doing any of this nonsense. We don't want them getting involved in additional needs and making decisions on additional needs because they're not qualified. We don't want them making decisions on how to sexually safeguard our kids because they're not qualified. You know, so they need to teach. We don't want them doing all this paperwork and all these lesson plans, taking the time away from the kids.
Yeah.
We don't want that. We want teachers to teach.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, we
That's
need
what-
additional
that's why they're
services, we need
computers.
additional support, we need additional training mechanisms, additional teams, you know, to go around the country, you know, make it a system that teachers need to learn as much as the children. The teachers need to be aware as much as the children. The teachers are in no position to teach this.
Yeah, no.
None whatsoever.
No, I totally agree. Like they've got enough on their plate, in all fairness, haven't they, to make sure that their students get the grades and that. You know, they have got a lot on their plate, and when you're introducing this sort of thing, like I'm absolutely positive. In fact, I have spoken to teachers that were like, no way, I would never teach that. No, I wouldn't.
What are they going to do? They're going to leave their job?
Yeah.
They're going to leave their job, and then what are we left with?
Yeah, exactly.
What are we left with? These good people leave their jobs, and then what are we left with? Well, Gwyneth, there is nowhere to report things. The buck is always passed between all authorities in school. That's exactly what happens, Gwyn. Got the Welsh government implements these things, and then we've got local authority that need to uphold them, right? And then, so when we make complaints to the local authority, it's government guidelines. And when we make complaints to government, we can't get involved in local authority decisions. Can you see what's going on here?
Yeah.
That's how they solve it, right? So this one says it's government guidelines, but this one saying we can't get involved in local authority decisions. They play in us. And this is my argument of this sex education. The government implement it, it's up to the school to sort it. If as parents become awkward, where do the school turn? They're not going to go back to the government and say, look, we've got a massive problem here. No. They're going to be like, whoa, I can't deal with this. It's phone social services, they'll sort it out.
Yeah.
That's the road we are heading down, and we've tried to explain that to people. They didn't listen, and we just left. Now we just got to do a little bit of take this to court. The other side of court, we just rewrite the policies. We rewrite the policies, and we fight to have them implemented.
Yeah.
So this is the difference between campaigning. When you campaign to stop something, and if you win, the other side of that then is, but we need to find someone to fix it. We need to find solutions, and we need to find, someone to implement these solutions, which cost millions and millions of pounds. But we've already got the solutions. We're in the middle of writing it now. So we've saved them millions and millions and millions of pounds.
Yeah.
So we're not shouting stop. We're shouting, whoa, we need this. This is crap. We're not shouting stop, and then going home. Once we've won the round, we know there's problems, and we just want things to be better.
Yeah.
And as parents, it's our job to make sure things are better. And if the government are preventing us from doing that, that's criminal.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is criminal.
Yeah. I was going to say as well, we're not doing what Bojo did with Brexit. No, we want out of the EU. We want out of the EU. And then he was nowhere to be seen then when it was all had to be implemented. Okay, he did come back years later, but he was out of there, wasn't he? But no, we don't want to do a Bojo. Definitely not. We want to, we've got a solution to a very opponent problem. It's a huge problem. I myself, I haven't experienced, touch wood, I haven't experienced anything bad like this. But yeah, I have spoken to, especially being involved with PCP Wales, I've spoken to a lot of people who have had, reporting problems, children not being comfortable in these lessons that have already started. We've all heard, haven't we, from people that just literally, as you said before, they don't hear about their children being abused until a year later. Like, what the hell is going on?
And even then it's brushed under the carpet.
Yeah, exactly.
Questions asked to the kids. These were the questions by the social services. Do you like so-and-so? Yes. Why? They do this, that, and that. That's draw, draw, nice fun stuff. Are you scared of them? No. Case closed. Those kids are described in those 3 questions classic grooming.
Well, it is, isn't it? Just because
But
they're not
because
scared.
they like him, they're not scared of him, and does his fun stuff with them, fine, go work in a different school now.
It's absolutely shocking. It really is. And what, like, surely.
And this is another thing, you know, this is another thing. So we noticed that as steps of grooming, obviously what actually happened and what was reported afterwards, that is what I consider a sexual offence, right? So when you put all that together, then the behaviours working up to leading up towards that is quite dangerous. Whereas if you're sitting in front of a panel of people that don't know this situation, they would be like, "Ooh, I think you overstepped the mark a little bit there," and that's it. Whereas people like myself then will be able to recognise dangers and be like, "Look, this is not a good situation," even if it's an innocent situation. Like, teachers need to be aware that they are the first. They just being a teacher, right? That's the first step of grooming done.
Yeah.
Just being a teacher, whether you're a perpetrator or not, you need to understand that you being a teacher, you've made that family vulnerable because you've already groomed the parents. That's a huge responsibility, but they need to be aware of that. You know, they probably don't think any parent standing in front of them is vulnerable because they're a teacher. Actually, because you're a teacher, they are in a vulnerable situation that none of you are aware of now. Children are automatically a risk there because the parents have been won over.
Yeah.
No, and that's not a bad thing. Like you know, statistics for ASD kids. The statistics for ASD kids of being abused and even offending against other kids are very, very high. That does not make me run away from it. That makes me face it and deal with it. And on that point as well, and you was talking about the lessons these kids have had, Lou. There's been a kid with ASD that's been in one of these lessons. Now, what's happened there in that instant, as these kids get these obsessions, they have now endangered the entire class and they don't even know it. So how can that parent undo what's been done to that child when she does not know anything's happened? It's a dangerous situation and people should not be meddling in it. You know, like I told you about that thing on Facebook with the 3-year-olds. Now that could have started off innocent, right? And so they were touching each other, pulling down each other's underwear, looking at each other. And I couldn't believe the post. The lady in the nursery was like, "Oh, we've had a word with them and they won't stop." So they had a word with the 3-year-olds and they hadn't taken no notice. And now they were turning to Facebook. I never comment on these groups. I'm just there observing because I need to know what's going on the other side of that coin. And I had to comment that day. I thought I'd been banned, but I wasn't. And I was like, you've actually come on here. You've had a word with 3-year-olds. You've come on here now and you come in here for advice. This is a safeguarding issue. Made even worse by you.
Yeah.
You know, you need to, it could be innocent. Kids touching themselves, right? There's kids that do, kids that don't, kids that's been neglected, kids that's been abused, right? So after those 4 groups of kids, automatically half of them are in a risk category straight away. So you don't blanket that. It needs looking at. If that child is playing with themselves because they always play with themselves and the parents need a bit of support, you show them, look, it is quite common, you know, blah, 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 blah. But you need to look at those. You do not, because within that 4 categories, 2 of them are quite innocent. You do not ignore the other 2 categories.
No way. No. And just like in a slightly different sort of context, like when Layla was a couple of years ago, I think she was about 8. And she started playing up here, like really, really like playing me up, being really naughty, you know, like really just like not listening to what I say, answering me back. And I was just, you know, I told her, I was like, Layla, you know, got to listen to me. But then I sort of sat her down and I just noticed a real change in her behaviour. And it ended up that the girls in school were picking on her. were bullying her, like she said, you know, and because there's only a small class as well, they had all sort of, none of them were playing with her, and she was really upset. So it was straight away, I recognised her behaviour had changed. She was acting out. There was an issue. There was a problem. So, you know, I sort of went down to school and it was dealt with. Now, if a child is acting out in a way like that, in a sexual way, of course you have to look into it. Yeah, it might be innocent, but it might not be. So you can't risk it.
And that safeguarding lies in the response of the adult.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not in the response to the child. When we keep getting told that we misunderstanding the documents, well, so what's going to happen now then? We have to wait till the 3-year-olds to come over and explain them.
Exactly.
You know, it's so we've got teachers going to explain it to the 3-year-olds. Teachers are going to Facebook for advice. They don't really know what they're doing, but they're going to explain to the 3-year-olds. It's okay. The 3-year-olds understand it. They'll help us out there. Is that where we go in?
This is the absurdity of the way everything anyway. Like, you know, where they're talking about, like, you know, children's rights, children's sexual rights. We're almost like saying, right, okay, no, it's up to the child. The child knows best. When in fact, the child needs guidance and the child needs protecting. They don't need... If
you give a child what they want, they're going to eat sweets for dinner all day, you know? So that's a ridiculous argument anyway. Right, so I have here, what you say, it's been said before, the parents only care when it affects their children. Do you know what? That is absolutely spot on. But do you know the most painful thing of all about that is this doesn't get picked up for 10, 20 years later.
No.
So, you know, so we've got parents that only care when it happens to their children. But the fact of the matter is a lot of them don't even know what's going on.
Yeah.
So this is why we have to become a nation of prevention.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not hard. It's not hard. All we've got to do is pay attention, learn a bit of stuff. Do you know what I mean? Keep the conversation going. Just by talking, you create an environment where people can't offend. You know, it's that simple. And this is what we need to do, because that's bang on. They don't only care when it affects their kid, but very often they don't even know it is affecting their kid in this situation.
And in all fairness, this education given to children who are too young to take it on board, it's going to affect all your kids. So we all need to rise up to this, because it actually makes me sick thinking about it. Like just thinking about what they want.
Well, look, my cousin's son said he didn't want to do it on the class, and the teacher gave him detention.
Yeah.
For not contributing to the class.
That, do you know what? And then he's saying there, talk about consent. Yeah, we're talking. Yeah. They want to teach the children to consent. Yeah, if they say no, I don't want to be in this class, they get told off for it. Hang on, what's going on?
They're empowering our kids, right, beyond capacity for a start. I am a parent of additional needs, and I say to academics, right, that I've said loads of times in my work as well that children's rights don't exist. In their response and their feedback, they always say they don't agree with me, right? They don't exist. They don't exist until a child is in a situation or an environment where it suits the adult. Because I have fought long and hard just for my son to have, do you know what I mean, his rights, his right to an education, his right to mainstream education, his right to the healthcare. His right to a diagnosis. You know, I fought long and hard, tirelessly, and they don't exist. They're not handed to you on a plate. But they are there if they to suit other people.
Yeah, that's it. Exactly that. It's we've got a lot of work to do, Kim. There's a lot of gaps in this. There's a lot of discrepancies, contradictions. It's all
saying handing over power to the kids is so dangerous. Yeah, it is dangerous. It's very, very dangerous. You know, this is what we are adultizing our kids. let's look at the science here. They're always saying follow the science, follow the science. Let's follow the science. There's science of the psychology.
Yeah.
Hi, Babs. So science and psychology tells us our brain isn't fully matured until we're in our mid-20s, right? So we've got teenagers with a part of their brain still missing. We're lowering the voting age.
Yeah. 14. My son is 14 in 6 months. I'm like,
We're
really?
teaching them how to consent to sex. We're asking them now to consent to medical procedures, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I was a 16-year-old on the streets. I didn't understand the policies in this country. I didn't realise the Labour policies had screwed me over another 10 years later.
No.
You know, this but this is what they do. They try buying the youngsters, and this is good,
Yeah.
that's good. They try drumming things into their heads as well. They don't expand their minds, they don't ask them to question.
Yeah, that's it. And
Well, here's a fine example then. Let's talk about that video that was sent to us with that child putting the condom on the life-size dildo. That was a year 8 class. So my son is year 8, and I said, would you appreciate doing this in class? He said, that's illegal. Tobish. And when I explained, he said, that's illegal. He said, you can't have sex at 18. Sorry, I don't mute this. Toby. Sorry. Yeah, so when I explained then that the age of consent was 16, that's when he was like, right, well, maybe 15 then. But automatically his brain now thinks he should be getting ready for sex when he's 16.
yeah,
Right?
because it's legal. Yeah.
It's the same thing happened in America. The woman who was teaching this sex education, she had a child respond to her asking how she could stop her gag reflex. Well, obviously you're not comfortable having oral sex. Well, I've got to do it.
Yeah.
I've got to do it. No, you haven't got to do it. Well, yeah, obviously I have, you know.
Yeah.
This is what these kids think then. Well, if we introduce this stuff, then we're obviously ready for this stuff.
Well, yeah, it's expected
No,
of it.
it's just like right, weaning a baby then. We introduce lumpy food when the kid is ready for lumpy food. So that's when the child starts to chew. We encourage it. We encourage the bite, you know.
And, you know, like following on from that as well, all babies are different. All babies, like some babies are ready to take solids at 3, some are older. Some babies start walking before they're 1, some not till 6 months. They understand things differently, and it's exactly the same for, you know, when they get a bit older as well. Some youngsters may be ready and in a relationship by the time they're 16, having already had sex. Others may not want to until, you know, they may not be ready at all. They may not be interested in it at all. They're more interested in their video games, or their, you know, sort of playing football, or, you know, sort of gymnastics or whatever else. Like you would, things that you would hope they would be more into. But then when you're introducing this from what, primary school age? Well, they want to introduce it from age 3, don't they?
They
You're
automatically assume that that's the next step, because children know that we constantly get them ready for the next step in their life.
Yeah. Well, that's what school's meant to be about as well, isn't it? It's meant to be about sort of getting them ready. Not
well, we've been told by the Welsh government and the Scottish government that this equips the children for the ever-changing modern world.
Yeah. Well, I'm not happy with the ever-changing modern world because of the stuff that we're seeing time and time again. Just who think they're innocent posts. Like I'll just like, you know, there's a couple of examples actually, people selling merchandise. And there was this one, I was absolutely appalled with it. There's a picture of little babies, 2 babies, like characters, cartoon characters, and they're wearing nappies, and the one cartoon character's looking in the other and saying, you're my favorite thing to do. And people were saying, oh, that's so cute. Oh, I want to get one. I'm like, what the hell is wrong with people? Why? How can anybody think? And I made a comment saying that's absolutely disgusting. That's encouraging. That's suggesting that babies want to do each other. You know, want to do each other. And this.
Well, this is what
get with the times. That I was old-fashioned. I need to get with the times. I'm just like, really? What are people
These people only got the guts to say things like after a keyboard. I'm telling you now.
Yeah.
Yes, Geraint, it is being rolled out under a new law. So what's happened is they brought in the Curriculum and Assessment Act 2021, which legislated this education from age 3 with no parental opt-out. That's the situation in Wales. It is all over the UK. Lessons are coming in. But yeah, so we've got this nice stinking law now that's given our children sexual rights in place of parental rights. And going back to what Gwyn said there, the only right a child should have is the right to be safe.
Yeah.
When actually it's a child's right to be protected, and the government is stopping us from doing that.
Yeah.
It's also in children's rights that all parties involved in children need to work together. The government are failing to doing that as well, because we've asked them to work with us. So the government are in breach of them. Do you know what I mean? The government are breaching the children's rights anyway. And speaking of children's rights, do we want them? Do we want these UNCRC rights when we've got kids that are supposed to be under these rights, same as ours, that haven't got no food, they haven't got no water, they're starving, they're not working. We don't want them. We'll have our own. We will have a Welsh Bill of Rights and a Welsh Bill of Responsibility. So they'll have their right. Next to that right, we'll know whose responsibility it is to uphold that right as well. Because everybody wants rights, but nobody's prepared to accept the responsibility.
Yeah.
I don't want that UNCRC anymore. It's responsible for starving kids in the world. So, you know, if all kids got a right to education, all kids got a right to be protected, all kids got a right for this, that, and the other, why have we got kids in this world that have no food, water, and education?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
And those are exactly the same rights as our children have, Lucia.
Mm. Yeah. I know. Do you know, you've got children starving around the globe, and then you've got these people in the high places in the WHO and in UNESCO thinking that they need to be learning about sex. It's like, really? No, they need to be learning about, especially in these third world countries, they need to be learning about how to be self-sufficient for when they're older, teach them how to grow vegetables, for God's sake. No, they don't want that, don't they? They don't want these countries to be self-sufficient and be able to feed themselves. Yeah.
Parents saying, yeah, did they think they could make laws under an act as an act requires consent to the people to be enforced? Yeah, well, this is it. By sending your child to school, and that is you were playing your part in consenting in that act. But this is not about parents' rights. This is about kids, because there's a lot of kids out there that haven't got parents to speak for them. So, we can play our part and not consenting it by sending our children to school, but that does nothing for those kids out there that's got no one. It does nothing for the kids out there that's parents not even looking into it. So we need to fight for every kid, and it's as simple as that. It's one in, all in.
Yeah. Well, the simple fact that they're telling children that they can, they're teaching children about consent from the age of, do they teach that from age 3 or from age 5? The fact that they're doing that is actually, it's just making it easier for perpetrators to get away with these crimes.
Well, this is it, know what feels good, listen to your body. If it doesn't feel good, you don't have to comply. These are sensitive areas to touch, and they do give off pleasurable feelings. We do not want to stimulate those feelings in kids young.
No.
Because it can become addictive as well.
Yeah, exactly. And
why do we want to stimulate these kids' genitals young now? Why do we want to do that when the insides are not formed?
No. And it's actually quite dangerous to insert things inside yourselves when you're children, and it can cause all sorts of diseases as well. And you're more prone to, is it cervical cancer you're more prone to if you...
Cervical cancer, anal cancer, anal collapse, the canal collapses.
Oh God, I've heard about people in older age sort of having that. That's horrendous. So, we've got a whole lot of problems where children are engaged with any kind of sexual activity at a young age, yet they're encouraging it and saying it's fine if it feels good.
It's really interesting. Like, I can't wait to finish this piece of work, because I think a lot of people are going to be shocked. Like, you know, little things that they say, are they going to do it anyway? Well, that is the attitude of predators. That is, you know, one of the main attitudes of predators. Why you've got the same attitude as a predator, not because you're a predator, it's because you just got a bit of a blasé attitude, really. So you need to pull your socks up.
Yeah.
You know, people need to realise that we've all got a part to play in this. And we've all, and let's face it, we are in this situation because of us all.
Yeah.
Right? We should have all been paying much more attention far sooner than this.
Yeah.
You know, but at least we're doing something about it now. Where's the rest of them?
Why isn't everybody in uproar? Like, just even, right? I heard something when Ruben, he wasn't even in school yet, he's 13 yet. I heard something, he must have been about 2 or 3, that they were going to introduce sex education from age 4 in schools. Now, as soon as I heard that, I thought, is this true? I can't remember if I read it, I heard it, I can't remember exactly where. But all I remember was my ears were firmly to the ground. I was literally checking because I didn't know if it was true. I didn't know if it was hearsay.
Yeah.
But that just didn't sound right to me. It did not sound right. Like, I'm not educated like yourself. I don't, you know, I haven't studied psychology, but it didn't sound right. It sounded horrendous. And I thought, there is no way, if I hear anything, if that is definitely going ahead, my child's out of school. And that is how I felt. But why aren't other parents thinking that way? Why are they all just saying, oh, okay, yeah, age-appropriate sex education, yeah, that's fine. Really? Really?
Appropriate doesn't exist, though. We've proven that. We've proven age appropriate doesn't exist. Where's the assessment tool? Where is the assessment tool that teacher has for that classroom to determine age appropriate and neurotypical, neurodiverse, all different kinds of children? Where is the assessment tool so that teacher knows exactly what is age appropriate and what's not? They can't keep throwing that term around unless they can back it up.
Yeah.
And that is, you know, we've proven it doesn't exist.
Well, age appropriate keeps popping up, and I was watching.
They say developmental appropriate. Well, developmental appropriate, then shouldn't the parents know what that is? But they get abused at home. They also get abused in school as well.
Yeah.
So should we just take it out of everyone's hands?
Yeah.
Let's just take it out of everyone's hands, you know, because we got a lot of finger pointing going on here now. Why don't we all just take a bit of responsibility?
Yeah.
You know, and we got to do this because that's happening over there. No. With paedophiles and child abuse, you do not generalize and you cannot stigmatize. You can't stereotype on nothing. You know, it's everywhere. Wherever there's kids, there's going to be some dangers.
Yeah. And I, you know, I've said this before and I'll say it again. All mothers need to be briefed when you're pregnant, like as part of your, you know, like you go to these maternity classes, as part of that, these mothers need to be taught about safeguarding their children.
Yeah.
Because there's
especially,
so many
especially single mothers. How many single mothers out there know they're targeted by their landlord?
Wow.
You know how many single parents know that?
Yeah.
You are a target because you've got children. And if you're emotionally unstable and you're very needy, your kids are even bigger target.
Yeah.
You know? So let's all start being honest now. What are our flaws? And do you know what I mean? We all need to start being honest here because being honest keeps the kids safe.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And that's all that matters. Like, there's nothing more important in life than making sure that our children and our most vulnerable are safe and protected.
Yeah, that's it. So where from here, Lucia, we've got tomorrow we got some meetings and we're doing the court list tomorrow, guys. The people that have applied, filled in the contact form for court, we will be getting hold of you. We hope to get this sent off by the barrister by the end of Tuesday, the latest. And we need to get a funding page going. We have first benchmarks, 20 grand, guys. It's massive, but it could double, it could triple, it could quadruple. Do you know what I mean? We've got to give this a go now. We got people I know that's out of work. And I know a lot of people are struggling as well with everything that's gone on with the COVID. But what we need to think, even if we think, right, let's have I don't know, let's not have that snicker today and let's put that in the fund.
Yeah.
Anything, absolutely anything. We're going to push this now as hard as we can. We need people as well, guys, doing their own fundraising, because what you'll find is if you have a fundraising event which is quite big, you might get your local paper around asking what it's about. You know, this is what we need to do now. It needs to be ground level, guys. We all need to take responsibility for ourselves. And anyone with any ideas for fundraising,
Bring it
there
on.
she is. She's the lady, Lucia Money Thomas.
Yeah, I'm literally, please get in contact if you want to start your own fundraising or group together with people. And let's get this campaign, this fundraiser, once I put it on, put it out there, let's get everybody sharing it far and wide, because it's great, if you can afford to donate some money, fantastic, but if you can't, then sharing it is just going to get it out there.
If you can't afford to donate any money, then have a coffee morning.
Yeah.
Host a coffee morning. Host a teddy bear picnic. You know, you don't have to, time is just as good as money in this. If you've got really good organisation skills, but you haven't got 2 pennies to rub together, get an event going. Get an event going.
That's even more effective, isn't it? Because A, you're spreading awareness, and B, you're going to be able to get the funds from everyone else. Like, if you were to do a coffee morning, like, people would give a $5 each, wouldn't they? People will do that because, especially when they feel so strongly about something. So yeah, absolutely. If you can spare that time to organise something, we'd be so grateful. I know
Adele's planning on organising something for October. She did one for the 25th of September, but I got my due date. My deadline is 5 days after that, and obviously I want to be there. So I know she wants to organise something in Roath Park in Cardiff for the weekend after the 25th of September. So yeah, she's planning something there. I don't really know what's going on yet. I've got like 1 year in the conversation and 1 year in my life kind of thing going on at the moment. So yeah, guys, just do whatever you can. This is what it's about now, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And we're growing all the time, aren't we? We are growing all the time, and lots of you are out there sort of spreading awareness and even like coming to our events, etc. We did want to do a sports day, didn't we, Kim? I know we were discussing that. I just can't believe we're in, like, it's the 8th of August already, and it's just flown by. The summer holidays is going by like that. But we did want to organise something just to get us all together, get the kids, just because the kids have so much fun, don't they?
Yeah.
When they're all together. And like, I know, my children alone, they've met so many, when we've had our get-togethers and that, they've met so many new friends who they really do class as really good friends as well.
Yeah.
So it's we've done a couple of events where there's been lots of other children there, and that's what it's all about, isn't it? It's about the children. So yeah, we will sort something out and put something out there.
And if you just want us to come to a park in your area, the chances are I probably won't be there. I'm not supposed to be doing any front of house work at the moment. I'll be back full time in October. But everyone in this team is amazing, and everybody, everyone's just amazing, and everyone will do what they can. So if you want somebody to come to your area, just ask. The girls will just up and go. Oh, before we North Wales, we're in North Wales. What dates do we say? The 17th and 18th?
17th and 18th, yeah.
So we'll be up in North Wales on the 17th and 18th of August. We don't know where. The North Wales team are in charge of our itinerary, but we're just going to go up there and hopefully make a few more contacts, speak to the parents, hopefully try and get it going.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So if you are watching from North Wales, hopefully we'll see you on the 17th and 18th of August. I love that part of the world. I love North Wales.
I know, it's Farbabello, isn't it?
It really is. It really is gorgeous. And I've got to say, when we were driving back that one night, when we did one of our canvassing days, I could not believe. I know the moon is sometimes beautiful down here because I live by the sea, but the moon was like I've never seen anything quite like it before. It was absolutely gorgeous. It was beautiful. I think one of the people I was with might have taken a photo of it. It was idyllic. So yeah, I do
lovely
look
up
forward to
there.
it. What's that?
It's lovely up there.
It is. Beautiful part of the country.
So I just want to say hi, Bobs. Hi, Peter. Just trying to catch up with anyone that I've missed really on the chat. It's not often I get to monitor the chat. So considering I wasn't going to come on last minute because I was having kittens, we've managed to monitor the chat as well.
Yeah, you're on fire, Kim. I was like, because Kim was like, oh my God, I can't come on. I was like, oh my God, because I'm not, I've got to say, I'm not great on my own. I do like to have the company. I'm very, very nervous speaking live, especially when we're talking about such sensitive issues. So yeah, when you came on, I was like, yay. I was actually going to show your video of the, but I'm sure everyone that's watching today has seen the video on Facebook of you doing your...
I will upload it to YouTube, but obviously because I swore in it, I would rather it had been in the show rather than
it was called for.
It was called
it
for.
Was called for, yeah. But if you haven't seen it, get on Kimberly Isherwood's. It is on Kimberly Isherwood, isn't it?
Yeah.
Get on Kimberly Isherwood's Facebook page, and it's on there. I've also shared it to Lucia Thomas on mine as well. It's the one, I've got two profiles. It's the one with the Public Child Protection Wales logo. So I've shared the video on there. You might actually be better off going on there because you've got lots going on your profile, whereas I haven't got so much.
No, it is. It's gone a bit nuts, isn't it? So I think I'm probably Wales' most hated woman this weekend, judging by the charge that was sent through the post on Saturday. I think so.
Yeah. Do you want to sort of like tell everyone about that charge and the discrepancies, or do you want to leave that?
No, because we need to build our case, don't we? So we'll discuss that.
We'll discuss that another time.
But I'm going to shoot off, guys, because I'm going to, I haven't had food today either, and I've got another night shift to do. So I worked until 6:30 this morning. Now, because I've lost some work, I need to try and find what I've lost and replace it. So,
in fact,
nice
Kim, why don't you ask our viewers if anybody is like really good on Word to get in touch with you and see if they can help you with that.
I've removed this is why I'm on. So I've removed the track or whatever it was. What was it called? Whatever it was called, I've removed that. Then a quick Google and it took me through the steps to remove that.
Oh, okay.
But as for the lost words, the only thing I can do now, I'm just grateful that I write everything down. So all I've got to do now is go to my sections, have a look what's missing, and just put it in.
Well, Kim, considering you're not a techno person, you always figure it out. You're actually really good. Well done for sorting that out.
Problem solver.
You are. Well, you won't give up until you solve the problem, isn't it? That's just you all over.
Yeah. Right. I don't know how to get out to here. I can see you. I can see you.
Okay, you've got it, yeah? Okay,
right, good night, everyone.
Good night, Kim. Good night, everybody. I'm going to shoot off as well. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. And yeah, we'll see you again soon.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.